These exist. This is a thing. It's a little chilly down here in the basement today, so I'm not wearing a t-shirt, but I just want to say, just throwing it out there, a thing, if you want, down below. Okay, it never occurred to me back when I started this channel that movies were already starting to occupy a different space in the media landscape for young people. And kids, you know, my own included, well, their attention is divided more. When my daughter does watch a movie, an honest-to-goodness film, you know, I can't pass up the opportunity to watch it too. And so it was a few days ago when she came home from school and told me they'd had a movie day. And the movie they watched was Wonder from 2017, starring Julia Roberts, Owen Wilson, and Jacob Tremblay. I found it free on Netflix and settled in, and, you know, it was pretty good. It's exactly the type of feel-good message movie with heart you'd expect to crop up in a fifth grade movie day. Just enough edge to hold the kids' attention at times, a difficult topic with a clear anti-bullying message, good acting, good directing, and when it was all said and done, I was glad I'd watched it. After all, my daughter, you know, had spent the first 15 minutes of our 25-minute drive home telling me all about it, and now that I've seen it, we have another shared piece of film literature to refer to together, and that's worth something to me. But I noticed in her retelling of the story of Wonder that it seemed to drift between characters a lot, and I wasn't sure if that could be attributed perhaps to ADHD or whether something else was going on in the storytelling of the film. And it turns out Wonder is a little bit of a wonder, dare I say it, in terms of how it tells its story. This film is a bit more nuanced and doesn't mind asking you to hold that thought now and again while it circles off in another direction to confound your expectations and evade your judgment of its characters. Some of whom are, you know, easy to judge at first, and none of whom are as two-dimensional, as it turns out, as you are first tempted to believe. The importance of perspective-taking in life, in fact, becomes more important than its anti-bullying message at times. We meet the wonder of this film, the central character, Augie, and quickly establish that he dreams of great things in life. He's smart, aims at becoming an astronaut, but soon we realize we haven't seen Augie despite this extended voiceover we're getting, and he's wearing a space helmet throughout. And finally, we get it. Augie has a facial deformity. He's had it since birth, and his many reconstructive surgeries since have created a pretty tough kid with a big heart who wants just a normal life, wants friends. And now that middle school is approaching, and there will be lots of other new kids at school, it's time maybe for Augie to step out into a new world. Augie's mother, played by Julia Roberts, has homeschooled Augie till now and suddenly sees a flicker of hope in restarting her own idling career by finishing her degree with the time that she'll have while Augie's at school. Dad, played by Owen Wilson, is a believable, immature but completely loving father and husband. And both of these adult characters, in putting Augie's substantial struggles and needs first all these years, have inadvertently made Augie's older sister Via's life a bit of an afterthought. And she comes into the picture and struggles for attention and space in the family as well. Before we get pigeonholed with any of these characters, the film does something kind of offbeat, which I want to talk about, in perhaps, you know, sort of a Wes Anderson sort of turn, by taking a detour into what amounts to a short filmic exploration, a vignette of how Via's life came to be how it is and why she's acting the way she's acting, so that, again, we're less tempted to judge her, especially when she meets a boy that she likes. But always having been lost in Augie's aura and gravity, she lies and tells him she's an only child. Now that could be horrible, right? It could be mean. But the way the film presents it, we kind of understand. Via needs to make space in her own life just for her now, a little bit. And despite the inevitability of the truth coming out, she grabs that chance. And the film follows suit with some of the other characters and their troubling decisions. Augie makes a friend at school, Jack, who breaks off from the in crowd at his own peril, just to spend time getting to know Augie. But owing to a misunderstanding that would be at home in a Shakespeare play, he's in the room, Augie is, on Halloween, wearing the wrong costume, when he anonymously overhears Jack say that he'd rather not be alive than look like Augie. This heartbreaking moment drives a wedge, of course, between the two boys. And then we enter Jack's short vignette, telling his story, right at the moment where we're tempted to like him the least, even dislike him, in fact. And yet, we get to see the whole character and take the measure of his virtues as well as his faults, and come to find a little bit of grace somewhere in the middle. This is tricky business for a story where people do some very unappealing, selfish things at times, at someone else's expense, generally Augie's expense. And yet the film allows us to embed ourselves into the full story, the years-long dynamic, for Augie, the lifelong dynamic, which we've only just stumbled into as a viewer at the end, ready to judge. The film says, hold on a sec. There aren't usually heroes and villains in our lives, as much as, we might find them convenient at times. So just take a breath and see the whole person here. And the character of Augie is the perfect catalyst for that, at the center of these characters. Because ultimately that's the crux of what the film is asking of us and the other characters who approach Augie. That's all Augie is asking for. Even the worst character in the film, Julian, at least among the kids anyway, by the time we get to his turn for a backstory to see what's running beneath his surface, we don't even need it at that point, and we don't get it. The film has done its work by that point, and we're able to just see it in Julian's eyes, that he's made a huge error, and now he gets it, and he's genuinely sorry. The film has succeeded in affecting how we see and judge other people. And that's, very much the type of critical thinking and perspective taking we want our fifth grade classrooms to instill. So, great choice on this movie, Mrs. Now, I want to mention also this one other character, Miranda, who's Via's former best friend until the most recent summer, when the two girls drift apart and seemingly return to school at odds and ready to move on from one another. She gets her own vignette as well, and we see her life isn't what we imagined. We see her actually very deep and abiding connection to Via's family that we weren't expecting, but should have expected, and especially her connection to Augie. And it's at this point when I realized the movie was a lot smarter and more nuanced than I was originally ready to give it credit for. The sacrifice that Miranda makes at the end of this film is huge, actually, because it not only gives Augie's family and her friend Via what they all need in a very critical moment, but also in that same moment brings Miranda to terms with who she is and what she comes from, and that most important lesson about growing up. As Rock Wilk, who might be watching this video, would probably say to you, it ain't all about you. And that's a great lesson, especially for kids growing up. Wonder is on Netflix as I post this video, but leaving this month, just in a few days. So catch it for free on Netflix while you still can. Probably a good family night movie, I would think, for most ages. Don't overthink it too much if you're worried about kids being traumatized by Augie. As Jack says in this movie, you do get used to his face. And that in itself is a good message for kids to learn about people with big differences from us. Thank you to our monthly supporters scrolling here right now. You really make this worthwhile every time. I appreciate you, and I'll see you soon. If you're still here, right before this video or right after this video, there's going to be an interview with director Anthony Lucero, who made Paper Bag Plan. Paper Bag Plan is a very different film from Wonder, but it has some overlap. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation, and I hope you'll tune in for that.